I see me, Rochelle, you, Gary, Tommy. I think Derek, I already saw it, and I don't know about Jake.
Yep. I see Jake. Yep, I see them all.
Got everybody.
So I guess we shall start this meeting. I call order the November 5th, 2020 Board of Commissioners regular session. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Commissioner Tommy Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Gary Tompkins,
Present.
Commissioner Kathy Sue Vetty,
Here.
Commissioner Rochelle Hatcher,
Present.
Commissioner Jake Smith,
Present.
Commissioner Steve Frisbee,
Present.
Commissioner Derek King.
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Have a moment of silence where I'd like everyone to think about and remember the 70 folks who have our citizens who passed away during the COVID outbreak.
Yes.
And Commissioner King, will you lead us in the pledge? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Approval. Can I have a motion to approve the November 5th, 2020 Board of Commissioners regular session as presented?
Support. So moved. Sorry.
Support.
Was that Derek?
Oh, I'm sorry. And that was
It's
Rochelle.
Jake, I believe.
Jake? Okay. Hatcher and Smith?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Commissioners October 15th, 2020 annual apportionment session as presented?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support Miller.
Tompkins and Miller. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is citizens' time. During citizens' time, the board chair shall recognize any person wishing to address the board. A person recognized by the chair shall call in and state his or her name and community of residence. A person may address the board only once on the same matter during each period set aside for citizens' time on the agenda and only on matters that are relevant to county government. The chair shall control the length of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes, and shall not allow negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or computer when calling in, as the background sound will generate feedback. Please note there's an approximately 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Would anyone like to address their commissioners? That was at 7:04. Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Wait about 30 seconds. Who's running the show tonight, technically? Who do we have from IT? the silent partner. All right, we'll move along. Special order of business, we have a United Way resolution recognizing November 5th through 13th. And I'm going to have Commissioner King read that into the record.
Excuse me, Chair, if I may.
Yes,
Next on the agenda was the elected appointed county official comments. Did we miss that one?
we
Nope.
sure did. Thanks for pointing that out.
No problem.
Why don't we go ahead with any elected or appointed county officials who'd like to comment? Prosecutor Gilbert.
Greetings. I just want to welcome everybody back and congratulations on everybody winning re-election. That's all I really have tonight.
Thank you.
You.
You as well.
Yes.
Sheriff Hinckley.
I just wanted to also congratulate everyone and very excited for the next few years together. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to you. Clerk Hinckley.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Chair. I also wanted to say congratulations to the commissioners for their reelection, as well as my local county officials and any local candidates that may be listening in on tonight that won either for the first time or reelection. Congratulations to each of you. It was a very long election night, but we have survived so far. And started our canvassing process today. We had our 4 canvassers in. We also had 3 guests observing the canvass, and it sounds like they will be with us for most of or all of our canvass time. Things are going well, and our canvassers are excited to have an accurate account of what happened on election night and be able to certify. I would also like to say a huge thank you to Austin Fraley from IT and Chelsea and Brent from GIS, as well as our own Terry Lowe and her husband Dan for helping to run a successful night to get all of our results on the website so we could sit home in our jammies and watch the results come in. They worked tirelessly. So I just want to thank them, and as well as Judge Jackinette for being here all night, and then Cindy Rude coming in the morning to help us wait for a couple more stragglers that we had coming in. And then she also helped me to deliver the envelopes to the Board of Canvassers this morning. So I just wanted to give a great shout out to everybody who made election night run smoothly. And I look forward to working with all of you over the next 2 years. Thank you.
Great work in the face of a record turnout for Calhoun County. Good job.
Thank you.
Helen Guzzo.
Thank you. I want to also give my congratulations to our commissioners and to our elected officials for winning re-election. Looking forward to working with everybody again. I want to thank everyone for their past support of the United Way. I'm here to talk about the United Way campaign that's kicking off tonight. Everybody, all 660 county employees, including the commissioners, received a link today from the Battle Creek United Way, the United Way of Battle Creek and Kalamazoo region. And we're kicking off the campaign. We normally have it in September, and we have these wonderful usually hosted by the sheriff and by Commissioner King. We're unable to do that this year. And this year it's kind of kickstarted us moving towards a virtual campaign. We've always used paper forms in triplicate. And so we're asking your support, county commissioners, and all our leadership to make leadership donations to the United Way. We're looking for initial contributions from employees of a $2 a pay period. That's a donation of $52. That's kind of your initial contribution or commitment of pledge to the United Way campaign. We don't really have goals this year. We want everyone to participate. In the past 2 years, we've raised $19,000 and about 20% of county employees have contributed, and we just this year want to make sure that everyone knows that we have an opportunity to support our community, living united. So there's 3 United Ways that serve Calhoun County. We're very unique. I think we're the only ones in the state that have these 3 United Ways. We have 2 local ones that have not merged. We have the Marshall United Way and then the Albion Homer United Way. The Albion Homer United Way has reemerged stronger than ever the last 3 years under Marcia Starkey's leadership and Gary and everyone on their board. Last year, Calhoun County received an award for having the greatest increase in contributions. We were the employer with the largest increase in contributions to the Albion Homer United Way. There's the leadership of the United Way of Battle Creek, Missouri region. They have led with the virtual donation, the link. There was a little bit of error that they apologized for today, but hopefully it should be flawless going forward. There's the basic, in our community during the COVID response, the United Way has done special fundraising and has taken a leadership role in providing services and providing needed funding. And as we go forward into 2021, this is the annual campaign that raises thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to support Charitable Union, the Food Bank of South Central Michigan, Legal Services, Community Action. Our nonprofit infrastructure that serves people in need is supported by the United Way and our contributions. So it's just important that we all think about what we can afford. Many people have been laid off or are suffering, but those of us that are fortunate to be blessed, if we can share a little, it'll do a lot. So I just, people look to the organizations that are funded the United Way. I just want to affirm and thank you for your commitment and say we're kicking it off tonight with your support.
Thank you, Helen. All right, we'll go back to special order of business. Where Commissioner King, I'm going to have you read the United Way resolution.
Do I need to now? All right.
Helen did a great job.
Calhoun County Workplace United Way campaign. Whereas Calhoun County contains 3 United Way organizations: Albion Homer United Way, Marshall United Way, and the United Way of Battle Creek and Kalamazoo region. Whereas the United Ways do what no single organization can do alone. Whereas the United Ways have been leaders in the community during the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas the United Ways have a vision of supporting a vibrant community where all people realize their full potential, where every baby thrives, every child graduates from high school, every person earns enough to be financially stable, and every person who is hungry, homeless, or in crisis gets help. Whereas the United Ways work to strengthen the community by mobilizing donations and volunteers to support programs for children, health, education, and basic needs for all people. Whereas Calhoun County government and its employees, and all 3 of the United Ways, support advancing the common good of the community. Whereas Calhoun County employees and elected officials are asked to donate to the United Way of their choice in this annual workplace campaign by payroll deduction or a check. Now, therefore, the Calhoun County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of the elected and appointed officials and employees of Calhoun County government, hereby proclaims its support for the Calhoun County Workplace United Way campaign from November 5th to November 13th, 2020, and encourages participants in the annual United Way fundraising campaign, signed by our chair, Steve Frisbee.
Thank you, Commissioner King. Can I have a motion to approve the United Way resolution recognizing November 5 through 13 as the 2020 workplace campaign as presented?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support. Smith.
Support Hatcher.
Tompkins and Smith. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, if I may, Chair, if I could, please.
Yes.
Certainly want to just express my appreciation, certainly all of our appreciation for Helen Guzzo and the group that has formed this and really spearheading this campaign, because it does certainly a significant amount of good, not only in all regions, certainly of Calhoun County. So great job to Helen, and certainly One question I do have for Helen, just as a point of clarification, that in the link that you will be able to designate your contribution, either by payroll or by check to one of the three United Ways, correct?
Yes, the contribution goes to the United Way of the Battle Creek and Kalamazoo region. They have an agreement with the Albion Homer United Way, so there's a 13% administrative kind of charge for designating to nonprofit organizations. And the Marshall United Way has that fee, but there's an agreement between the Albion Homer and United Way. So it's a straight pass through to the Albion Homer United Way when you make a payroll contribution or a check to the United Way of Battle Creek Kalamazoo region.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Vetty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. We have five items on the consent agenda tonight. Some significant movement in appointing people to boards. Some really nice and good names within there. So many of them recognizable. So can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda of November 5, 2020 Board of Commissioners regular session as presented?
So moved, Vetty.
Support, Miller.
Betty and Miller. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetty.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Any special committee, workshop, or board reports? All right, we'll move on. We have no unfinished businesses. We'll move on to new business and a county administrator report. I'll turn it over to County Administrator Controller Kelly Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, just want to acknowledge Chris Sargent, who is the CEO of our Kalamazoo Battle Creek United Way. He is in attendance tonight and has added a couple of remarks in the chat, one of which was just to clarify that they are waiving the administrative fees that they normally would charge to designate any of our employee donations to the other organizations within Calhoun County. So Marshall and then the Albion Homer United Way. So that's a nice benefit. I know some of our employees don't like to see those administrative fees, so we appreciate that, Chris. And then the only thing I would add is I want to thank our leadership team for our employee campaign. They are putting in these efforts on top of their normal job. So Helen, of course, from Senior Services is taking the lead. Lucy Blair, our communications manager, has taken the lead on that strategy. Megan Reynolds, who works for the Friend of the Court, is our representative within the Justice Center, and Doug Farrell with Parks and Rec for community development. So thank you to all of you for your leadership. We appreciate that. Also want to echo the previous comments about congratulations to our elected officials. From my perspective, I see it as two things. One, it's a really nice, I guess, confirmation from the voters of Calhoun County that they're satisfied with the leadership within our county government and didn't see the need for a change. So I think that's a really good positive for all of us. And then second, I just really appreciate in the midst of all of this turmoil with COVID, et cetera, that this is one area of continuity that we will be able to continue collaborating and become even stronger as a county family to work together for the benefit of our community. Having said that, we do have two new county officials, our Water Resources Commissioner, Ron Smith. We will welcome and also District Court Judge Michelle Richardson. And then, with a broader countywide perspective, there are a lot of changes in our local offices. And so I also appreciate the fresh eyes perspective from all of them and look forward to 2021 and beyond. Second, I want to remind all of us that next Wednesday, November 11th is Veterans Day. So the county offices will be closed. And we want to take this opportunity to honor our veterans throughout the county. A few of the board and committee reports that I will send out. The Marshall Area Economic Development Alliance, or the MEDA board, met on October 20. We have a relatively new CEO, James Durian, who is reviewing policies. So we specifically talked about our financial control policy at that meeting. The Battle Creek Rotary Club board also met October 30 via Zoom. We are requesting and appreciating extra funds being transferred from a special Rotary Education Fund that is held by the Battle Creek Community Foundation. So you may see around town some extra educational and promotional initiatives to better let the community understand what our Rotary Club is doing. Have some billboards and some ads within the Battle Creek Shopper, and then extra money this year to work on grants specifically related to education. Summit Point Board of Directors met on November 3rd. We had a closed session to do the annual performance evaluation of CEO Jeannie Goodrich. Our county vice chair, Kathy Sue Vetti, is the chair of the Summit Point Board. And we appreciate that in this year, the Summit Point Board requested a contract with the county for our HR director, Kim Marchambault, to manage that evaluation process. It saved Summit Point some money, and I think we got a even better product in the performance evaluation. The Native American Heritage Fund Board met on October 23rd and awarded their annual grants. So the Native American Heritage Fund receives $500,000 every year out of the state's portion of the 2% net win. Actually, a different percent net win from the Firekeepers Casinos net profits. Out of that, they awarded $480,000 to 6 local governments throughout the state. This year, 3 of those were school districts in the state that were changing their mascots and replacing them, which requires a lot of money for things like athletic uniforms, signage, and all of that. So we will be conducting a virtual grant award ceremony on November 20 at noon. And so the Native American Heritage Fund, through the local tribe, has established their own website. It's nahfund.com. So the county supports that fund through our administrative services agreement, and we will be finalizing that process this year on November 20. So a lot of good awards this year. And then on a related note, just November is also the National American Indian Heritage Month. So you can look up the Nautilus Epi-Huron Band of the Potawatomis website and their Facebook page for information and events related to that. And that concludes my report. Actually, I do want to finish with just a really quick COVID response update on behalf of the county. You hopefully have heard that our county and our region is among the highest in the state for just the pure number of COVID cases and also the percent positive. We are experiencing a pretty big surge over the past several weeks. And there's a lot of concern on behalf of Eric Pessel, our local health officer. We've been trying to continue the messaging to the community about just individual choices about wearing masks, restricting gathering with anyone who's not in your household. But as far as county operations, right now I'm recommending that we maintain our status quo. So we already have some really good response plans in place. We're compliant with the new MDHHS pandemic order and MIOSHA's emergency orders. Those were issued in October. We are requiring remote work when feasible, and we have a lot of employees continuing to work remotely. and providing the necessary services to our residents. The Justice Center remains locked. The public cannot just walk in, you have to have an appointment. Our other buildings are open to the public, but a lot of the individual offices are still requiring appointments and are requiring all of the protocol, distancing, masks, all of that. So I think we're in pretty good shape. We're not experiencing any spread within our county facilities. We have, I think as of today, 34 county employees that have tested positive. We've had more than 100 county employees who have had to utilize our emergency health leave that have the need to quarantine or stay home because of COVID-related issues. And it's really just a result of what's going on in our community. People are in close contact with others within their household or social events, and then they are presenting at work with symptoms. And we are doing our part to ensure that that's not getting spread within our departments. So I think because of all those protocols and just knowing that our residents are probably showing up in person only when they really need to, when they're not able to access the essential services by phone or by internet. My goal would be to continue doing what we're doing with the message to our employees that they need to comply with individual requirements. And then, just to make sure that we're following our cleaning and disinfecting protocol. We're in obviously consultation with our health officer, Eric Pessel. At this point, he has not, issued any local orders restricting anything further. I listened to the governor's press conference this afternoon. Really, the only thing that she indicated to me was that MIOSHA is going to try to further emphasize next week the office protocol, meaning you should be working remotely if you can, and they may put some additional penalties on businesses for not complying with those plans. Fortunately, I think we're in really good shape with our plans and with our protocol and in compliance with all of that. So we will continue to conduct our board meetings and other committee and board meetings remotely based on the amendments to the Open Meetings Act. But beyond that, right now I'm recommending that we continue our operations as we have been, which is we're considering ourselves to be in phase 4 of the reopening My Start plans. You hopefully have seen, as of yesterday, the courts did announce the discontinuance of jury trials through the end of 2020. They're hoping to revisit that and potentially bring back jury trials in the middle of January. But again, right now, this is not the time to do that, and they're going to continuously evaluate the COVID numbers. So I would be happy to answer any questions, and if not, we will move to the action items tonight.
Kelly, I would just add, the impact of COVID, folks that are not real sick, it's been very impactful on the local healthcare system and the EMS resources. So I encourage people to do their part and try to not be part of the spread, and be mindful that when we do spread it, it impacts a lot of different things.
Mhm. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Steve. We do really appreciate you as a first responder and all. The health department is also indicating that they are overwhelmed from a contact tracing standpoint. They've got all hands on deck. We've invoked the privilege that we have from the state coming in helping with that, but we're also encouraging all of our employers to, as quickly as possible, identify your own close contacts when you have someone testing positive and try to eliminate them from the workplace even before the health department contacts you. So I do appreciate that. That's another issue that, is essential for our health department evaluating, next steps is what the hospital system and our first responders are facing. So thank you.
We've also had conversations in the region. It's called the Medical Response Coalition, which is 9 counties in Southwest Michigan, about do we need more resources, specifically where to put COVID patients. And if it continues to grow, we may have to do that. So I appreciate your comments tonight too.
Thank you. Chair Frisbee, if I
Yes.
could, please. Thank you.
Yep.
I just had a question also too, and you just touched on it. I was going to ask Kelly how our health department was handling, perhaps with the numbers going up, a place to house some, as we had before with certain hotels or so like that. And then I was just also wondering if the health department, and I know that we're very busy and shorthanded, but how, Kelly, do we handle business owners or large business owners, making sure that they are following the procedures of keeping their employees, particularly their employees, safe, and then also the public when coming in? So I guess, in other words, making sure that, employees do have on masks when there are situations where, they are coming in contact with each other. Is there I guess, you guys, I'm just asking, is there a checks and balance procedure?
Yeah. So to your first question about isolation and quarantining, we are working with one or more local hotels, trying to decide if we can have a contract in place if needed. Again, like we did back in April, June for the homeless. So there we sort of recreated our work group for that. Brad Wilcox, Jim Dyer, they're working the health department on some options there. As far as the workplaces, like I said, I think MIOSHA is expected to come out with some stronger penalties and compliance procedures next week. In the meantime, the Joint Operations Center asked our local business and corporate working group, so Joe Soborowski from Battle Creek Unlimited, Kara Beer from the Battle Creek Chamber. Some of them just produced some videos that really emphasize for our businesses and for our employers what they need to do to ensure compliance. So I think we're trying to work all angles as far as that goes.
Great. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Kelly.
Yep.
Thank you. Also want to mention, kind of related to Rochelle's question, there was an article on the Battle Creek Shopper today about the new Battle Creek homeless shelter. Right now, the homeless shelter, what it is doing is drastically increasing the capacity of any homeless in the county to stay overnight. So previously, the only option overnight was the Haven has a really small 500 square foot emergency shelter location for the homeless. So you could fit about 15 individuals in really close quarters where they're sleeping on mattresses on the floor. So this new homeless shelter has room for, right now, I think they have up to 50, 55 that can stay overnight. That is brand new for our county. Also, they're moving essentially the day program that was at the Share Center is moving to this new location. Again, we've talked about this in the past. It's about $1 million investment being led by the Battle Creek Community Foundation, who created a new nonprofit that has a brand new board, Battle Creek Homeless Shelter, Inc. The county has contributed so far some of our restricted CARES Act COVID funding, federal funding, to purchase the trailers that have the portable shower and bathroom facilities, because that's one of the items that's limiting their capacity. Another item is just trying to figure out how to separate rooms so that they can have females and males within the same building. The county is also trying to get approval from the state to use the remainder of our CARES Act CDBG funding that's very restricted to this kind of a purpose, to help with the acquisition price to finalize that project, which they're hoping to do by the middle of December, put some permanent heating and bathroom facilities in the building. It's at 209 East Michigan. It's right next to the Justice Center and the Battle Creek Fire Station #1. So it's a huge project, but there was an article front page of the Battle Creek Shopper today, if you get a chance to look at that.
Okay.
Okay, so new business. We have a fairly short agenda tonight, 4 items. 12B1 is the approval of an interlocal agreement naming Aaron Powers as the designated assessor for Calhoun County effective January 1 of 2021 through, it's a 4-year agreement through December 31 of 2025. So this is in response to new state legislation, Public Act 660 of 2018. And the goal of the new legislation was really to just provide better assurance that our local units of government, so the townships and the cities and their assessors, are really complying with the State Tax Commission's rules for their tax assessment procedures. And what happens is the state they're required to, over the next year, so in the calendar year of 2021, the State Tax Commission is required to audit all of our local units and figure out if they're compliant or if they're deficient. If they're deficient, this new state law requires them to contract with their county and invoke this new designated assessor to step in and help them out. So Tom Scott, our Deputy Equalization Director, is here tonight, and he did all of the legwork behind this to come up, to identify Aaron Powers as a qualified, we used to call them level 4. It's really MMAO, but it's the highest level of credentialing for assessors within the state. So he will be on standby essentially, and only if needed, only if we have any local units that are deficient. And then he would step in and essentially take over their assessing function to make sure that it's in compliance. And so, I mean, the goal is really to have all of our properties within the county assessed fairly and appropriately, and not allow local units to have those deficiencies that are unchecked. This agreement does not require any payment from the county or the local units of government. And, Jim Dyer has helped with the legal agreement. The state law does require that we reach agreement with the majority of all of our local units of government, and then a final approval by the State Tax Commission. And we are required to have this in place by December 31 of this year. So this would put us in compliance with that law. And county administration recommends this. And again, Tom is here to answer any specific questions if you have them.
All right, we'll get it on the, can I have a motion to approve the interlocal agreement naming Aaron P. Powers as a designated assessor for Calhoun County effective January 1, 2021 through December 31st, 2025 as submitted?
So moved, Miller.
Support, Smith.
Miller and Smith, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetting,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
7 yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, item 12B2 is another intergovernmental agreement, and this is an exciting project. An agreement between Penfield Charter Township and the county regarding land use planning services. So we have Jen Bomba here tonight from our Community Development Department. She is the lead on this. So the background is Penfield Township is in need of someone to help them, or actually to lead their zoning and planning functions, zoning administration. A lot of counties offer this service to their local units of government. We have not done that, so this will be the first for us. And I'm excited because it has the potential to grow, to create some consistencies throughout the county when it comes to zoning and land use planning. Right now, it's done all at the local unit level, and then when there are changes, they submit to the County Planning Commission for basically for a recommendation, but not any authority. This, however, would just give us, I think, a little more direct oversight and closer consultation for local units of government, including Penfield Township, who wants to be the first. so that our community development department under Jen's leadership would actually serve as their zoning administrator for an indefinite term. Again, our corporation council has structured this contract, and Penfield Township supervisor has approved it in form. I don't believe it has gone to their board yet. Essentially, it calls for a retainer of $12,000 per year that would come to offset costs of the county's general fund. And then there are some optional services which would also recover costs to the kind of our actual costs of $50 per hour for salaries and fringe benefits. So we've structured it to be a 60-day notice to terminate at any time. And we are hopeful to discuss this same sort of service for other townships throughout the county. Again, just because it's helpful to create consistency across our townships when it comes to land use, planning, and zoning for economic development. And I'll leave it with that. And again, Jen and or Jim are here to answer any questions.
Can I have a motion to approve the agreement between Penfield Charter Township and the Calhoun County regarding land use planning services as submitted?
So moved.
King,
Support, Betty.
King and Betty. Any discussion? I'm excited about collaborative efforts between county and township governments. So, and as Kelly indicated, there's already more that want to talk about it. So I think this has great potential. And, I appreciate them structuring this so it'd work for everybody. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
It's 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B3 is one that has come before the commission for several years now, every year at this time towards the end of the year. This is the request for your approval of sexual assault grant contracts that would start effective the state's fiscal year, October 1st through next September 2021. These come from the office of our prosecutor, Dave Gilbert, who is also in attendance tonight. He's an attendee, so if we need to promote him, we can do that. There are multiple agreements essentially calling for the state attorney general to pay for these services for our investigators that work with Dave's office. The attorney general would also need to appoint a special attorney general with the election of Michelle Richardson, who was previously in that role, to one of our county judges. There's also a contract with Bronson Battle Creek Hospital to provide sexual assault advocacy services. So all of this comes at no cost to the county. And as you've heard Dave report in the past, he's done this for several years, and they've been very successful in testing rape kits that previously were not tested and being able to prosecute several individuals for sexual assault charges. And I'll just invite Dave to make any further comments and or answer questions.
Thank you. You've pretty much covered everything I can talk about. We have the investigators in place already. We do have to replace Michelle Richardson. But the Attorney General's office will what they do is they pick somebody who they want to be the special assistant attorney general, and we approve that person. They have control over the attorney. We have control over the investigators.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the sexual assault grant contracts 2020-21 as submitted?
So
moved,
moved.
Tompkins.
Betty.
Hatcher and Tompkins. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes, sorry.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
All right, the last item under new business tonight, 12B4, is a new item. This is the request that you approve resolutions creating new retiree health funding vehicles through MERS. MERS is the administrator that we have used for our county defined benefit plans for many years. This does not relate to pension. It relates to retiree health program. And so what we've done always with our county retiree health and also the road department, previous road commission retiree health, like many other local governments, is we have basically just paid every year out of our operating budget the actual claims, the actual health insurance premiums for our retirees. And we've offered them a discount. So they're paying us the difference between what the premiums are and what they are required to pay based on years of service when they retire. There is a new law passed in 2017, Public Act 202, that requires local governments to do a better job in addressing unfunded liabilities related to retiree health care. So we've already been reporting in a more transparent way on our balance sheet what those are. Now we're actually required to not simply do pay as you go, which we've been doing, but in addition to that, for newly hired employees after June 30, 2018, for those employees specifically, the new law requires us to create a trust fund and then deposit what our actuaries calculate as the normal cost for those employees every single year. So it's basically a percentage of the covered payroll for employees that have been hired since June 2018. So in order to be compliant with that, we have been exploring options, and MERS of Michigan, again, who we've been dealing with our pension plans, already has a great vehicle in place for this that is compliant. And so we're proposing that we create two different funds, two different accounts with them, one for the road department because they have a different funding source, one for the county. In those resolutions, we direct them how to invest the funds, and then we authorize myself and Kim Archambault to do the administrative reporting for those funds. And I'll just give you a couple of statistics because this is what's most interesting about this. Our unfunded liabilities just for retiree health, so again, we're not talking about pension, for retiree health, what we have for the road department, who has 66 active employees expected to collect 64 retirees, has a $10.7 million unfunded liability. The county that has 528 active employees, 133 retirees, and these are only those that are eligible for the retiree health. We have a $13.7 million unfunded liability. So the total countywide, including the road department, is about close to $25 million of unfunded liability for our OPEB. I've mentioned this when we've gotten our recent bond credit ratings from Standard & Poor's. They're insisting that we address this. We are also looking at additional options to start to pay off those unfunded liabilities. This is really just the first step, and it's in compliance with the new law. So it's a relatively small amount that we're required to deposit into the fund and then also continue to pay the actual costs as they're incurred. But just to put that into context, the road department is currently paying out of their operating budget over $500,000 a year just for retiree health. Again, they only have 66 or so active employees. The county has been paying even less, $350,000 a year for we have almost 10 times the number of employees. We know that we inherited a really large liability from the road commission. We have sunsetted that plan, and the county road department employees that will retire after starting November 1st, just a few days ago, are all going to retire under the county's plan, which has a much less cost. But we inherited a really large liability. So we're starting to address that. We've closed our pension plans to new hires. We're in defined contribution. This is really the biggest next project for us from a financial standpoint, is to address our retiree health unfunded liabilities. So we're taking one small step within this fiscal year, and then we'll be continuing to work with our benefits consultants and with MERS on options to, we don't want to take away benefits that are helpful when we attract and retain employees to county government. We want to make this a win-win. But there are options out there right now, such as retiree health savings plans and other vehicles that allow for a better budgetary figure that reduces the unfunded liability and also allows our retirees to have more personal choice to customize plans that are better for them. So I just want to mention kind of the big picture, but tonight we're just asking you to approve this first step, which is to create these 2 new funds within MERS, deposit the minimum amounts, which are $28,000 for the road department, $35,000 for the county, so that we're in compliance with the latest legislation.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the MERS retiree health funding vehicle resolutions as submitted?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support Hatcher.
Tompkins and Hatcher. Any questions? Kelly, I do have one. What's the time frame within the law that we have to be at a certain percentage? Can you explain that just a little bit better?
Yeah. The legislation actually required us by the end of 2019, which we did not do, to start depositing the normal cost for the employees hired after June 30, 2018. So we really should have had this in place in 2019. For whatever reason, we discovered that during our audit of the 2019 financial statements. But every year, right now, the law only requires us to continue to deposit that a minimum amount of, it's basically 5% of the covered payroll for the road department and about 2% of the covered payroll for the county employees every year into the trust. And then in addition, we would continue to pay out their actual premiums and actual costs. But so this is just really making a small dent in it. There's not, with the current legislation, there's not an ultimatum to, require you to fund, to get to a certain amount funded. I think they're doing that by saying, if we force you to start with employees after 2018, eventually in a slow time frame, but eventually you're at least starting to put money into this trust fund. A lot of counties have eliminated retiree health benefits and switched to more of like a defined contribution program where you give them a stipend or you create retiree savings accounts. So far, that's not required.
Okay. So I would agree. I would think that over the course of time, there's going to be some demands about percentage funded that more mimic probably pension funds. So it's good to get started, and we'll see how this goes, but I'm excited that we're addressing the problem. I think this is a huge problem for a lot of governmental entities. I don't think we're necessarily included in that. I think we've managed our stuff pretty well, but overall, if you look around, retiree healthcare is a huge problem for government, just not Calhoun County. So.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I should say one more thing. I don't want to make it sound like we've been paying zero. So, we get an actuarial required minimum amount every year. We've sort of ignored that and not put money into a trust. But when you compare the minimum amount that they say we should be putting into a trust to what we've actually been paying out just on a cash basis, there's not big of a gap. So there is definitely a theory out there that says, why would you 100% fund a present value of future payouts for this, as long as you're able to keep up with what your current operational costs are? The issue is that if it's growing, again, like the road department, to have $10 million for future costs for only 64 retirees, it doesn't make sense in their operating budget to have a $500,000 budget when that cost should be drastically reduced so that we can put more money into the roads. It's that kind of an issue, that if you
Yep.
reduce your annual operating cost because you've got the money put in the bank up front, then you can, reallocate these funds to other operating expenses. So we're keeping up. We're not drowning. And again, you said it, it's an issue. It's kind of the method that's been in place for many, many years with local governments. But we would like to be in a better position to actually, look at different strategies. And of course, we want to be with the law with having this trust fund in place. So this is an excellent vehicle that MERS offers to get that next step.
Thank you. All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Our next item is citizens' time. The same rules apply as during the first citizens' time. Please limit your time to 3 minutes and no negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or computer when calling in, as the background sound will generate feedback. Please note there's an approximately 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? I don't see any new attendees or anybody in the queue. Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Almost there. All right, we'll move on. Commissioners' time. Any commissioners tonight?
If I may, Chair.
Commissioner Tompkins.
Thank you, Chair. I want to first start out this evening by certainly congratulating my fellow commissioners on their victories Tuesday night, and certainly look forward to working with each and one of you moving forward, as well as our countywide elected officials who obviously were those that were successful, and some of the newcomers as well. So certainly looking forward to working with you folks as well moving forward. So just wanted to express my congratulations to each and every one of you. And then the second thing, if I may, we have a legend, if you will, within the 7th District that is will be celebrating his 90th birthday. Some of you may very well know who he is, actually. His name is Dr. Ralph Cram, and he is quite a legend, and we, like I said, celebrating his 90th birthday. There is a special tribute that he'll be surprised with tomorrow, as well as a proclamation that Ms. Connolly, thank you for putting that together, helping me put this together this evening. And if I may, Chair, if I could read this just take a moment to read this, if I could, please.
It's your time.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. This is a proclamation that will be honoring Dr. Ralph Cram's 90th birthday. Whereas Dr. Ralph Cram was a practicing medical physician for 57 years, delivering over 3,000 babies and serving 2 years in the Army Medical Corps, and was honored as Physician of the Year in 1993 by the American Academy of Family Physicians. And whereas Dr. Cram has donated his time to many civic organizations over the years, including the Albion Community Trillium Hospital, Calhoun Medical Society, Exchange Club, Rotary, and Salem United Church. He has also published several articles in the Michigan Academy of Family Practice Journal. And whereas over the years, he thoroughly enjoyed his travel, photography, and all manners of sailing, but most importantly, he was a loving and devoted husband to Mary until her death from multiple sclerosis in 2012, and is a loving father to 3 children and their spouses, as well as a loving grandfather to 9 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. And this will be, therefore, it be resolved that I, Commissioner Gary Tompkins of the Calhoun County Board of Commissioners, wishes to honor the 90th birthday of Dr. Ralph Cram and recognize him for all of his service to the community and devotion to his family. Wish him continued health and happiness. I know many folks that certainly on the east side of Calhoun County not only had, they were delivered by Dr. Cram, but their children were delivered by Dr. Cram, in many cases, grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So what a wonderful person he is in terms of the amount of he's given back to the community and certainly the area and the region. And thank you, Chair, for allowing me the opportunity to read this this evening. Thank you very much.
And happy birthday, Dr. Cram. Any other commissioners?
Yes, Chair, if I could, please.
Please.
Thank you. I want to, Gary, I just think that's wonderful. 90 years, you know, if only I should be so lucky, but or all of us.
Yes.
But I did want to again say congratulations to all of us. I think that we represent a wonderful board and a wonderful county, and I'm just looking forward to us all being back together again, face to face. But I did want to ask you guys thoughts or on this ideal. I was just wondering, while we are away from each other and we are doing meetings on Zoom, if Kelly, or if it might be possible during the Pledge of Allegiance, if maybe we could get a photo or a page of a flag, you know, on our pages instead of, you know, the way it is now. I'm just saying during the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know how you guys all think about that.
Yeah, we've had that earlier, so I don't know.
Oh, okay, so that can work.
I didn't see it tonight. I would agree.
There we go. Okay, thank you. That I sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, I didn't realize we had it before, so I probably was either standing up or doing something and not looking down at the screen. But today I was looking at the screen and I noticed that, so I just wanted to ask.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else? All right, we will move along. Claims payable. Could I have a motion to approve the Calhoun County claims payable for October 9th, 2020 through October 29th, 2020 in the amount of $11,849,430.31 as presented?
So moved, Hatcher.
Support Miller.
Hatcher and Miller. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
You are muted, Rochelle.
Oh, I am sorry. Yes, please. Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Are there any announcements tonight? All right. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank
Have a good
you.
evening.
Yes.